Okay, so we should be on all platforms. We should be good to go. Should be able to hear me. Should be live. Maybe a little latency on the difference on the start times for each one of them. But we are just going to go about this. Just and keep on talking. We'll keep on with the same topic, basically, just talking on this VA stuff. Which in a matter of what you can say 36 hours it's changed. So it's something to highlight, something to speak on, something for more people to understand because these changes did come into effect. But the thing is it's not cleared. The VA instance is not cleared. A lot of people are thinking that after you know Secretary Doug Collins decided that they were going to halt enforcement, that's it, that's done with, and people need to understand that that is not the case. There is still more work to be done when it comes to dealing with this VA stuff. It is not just a it just happened kind of thing, and then okay, we're done. We're good to go now. We're good to go. That's not what people need to understand, and what they need to comprehend of this situation is that that information and that change is still within the Code of Federal Regulations. So the Code of Federal Regulations still has that information within it. They stated they will stop the enforcement. They will halt the enforcement. Basically, they will not proceed with having medical prescriptions and stuff be a part of the evaluation. But the issue ongoing is that that information is still in the CFR. No matter which way we want to look at it, the CFR is what contains our schedule of ratings as veterans. For most veterans, it's veterans, a lot of veterans haven't completed their disability claims. Some more than half of the veterans alive right now haven't completed that. And that's one of the things that people need to realize and they need to pay attention to. That is one of the most important parts about it. The Code of Federal Regulations is what determines your rating. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter how much pain you're in, no matter what your issue is, that is how you get your rating. That is how you get your percentages. That doesn't change. That's always going to be the instance where that's how you get your information and you get your rating. You are not going to get a separate rating or a different rating from anywhere else. It will come from the Code of Federal Regulations. With that in place and that information in place, that is basically giving you the statement and letting you know, like, hey, no matter what's ongoing, no matter what happens, it's still in there. So for us to be successful, I made a video earlier basically stating how you can go and make a comment on the rule and the proposed change. So I made a video on that. You can watch that. It gives you a quick breakdown of how to go to regulations.gov, look it up. And once you look it up, it'll give you the information as to the document and it'll give you a summary of the changes. And this is something that happens within all of that. I also shared earlier when I was live streaming the information on the proposed mental health changes, on how they plan to change it to domains instead of changing it and having it as a social impairment or total occupational impairment thing. So that's something I shared also so that people are more aware of it, because that's also information that a lot of people do not receive in that context. They don't understand that when it comes to the CFR, when it comes to rule changes, when it comes to any kind of information like that being changed, that comes from the Code of Federal Regulations. It doesn't come from anywhere else. In order for you to be successful with your claim, you have to make sure that you are doing it properly. You have to fill it out properly. You have to be correct. The backlash that the administration basically received within 2 days of this changes is how drastic of an effect that rule change would cause to veterans. The reason why it's so publicized, well, let me backtrack on that. I can't say it was publicized due to the fact that most veterans did not know about this. Most veterans hadn't heard about this change. Most veterans did not receive any indication that this change was in place. So, for any veterans right now, anybody that had a file to intent to file date of yesterday or today, they would be falling under this new criteria, which would be taking their medication into consideration and how they're doing. What most people don't understand with that is that that's a big factor, but then it's other factors that are going to be consolidated into that and put into that. It is not only that your medication would take into effect, but then that would also be any medical devices that you use, any physical therapy that you would possibly use. It would be something that will continue to move in the steps of, hey, if we are providing something that is alleviating your issue or making your issue better, whatever the case may be, then we would be able to say that you don't need that much compensation. So basically, this is the way I see it. Now, this is just my perspective on this. This is the easy button for this administration. So instead of having to go through and change the entire CFR and make changes to every single thing, which would be a long process. Because if you were to want to change something like what happened with the digestive system, you had to go through the process of changing it to change the irritable bowel syndrome. You had to change the process of uh GERD, reflux disease. You have to take that stuff, and it was just like that's the that's the problem with it. It was just like it took time. That change for the digestive system took place in May of this past year. But that was after a time period of years of discussion and changing and medical advances and changes changing that. So they only changed certain diagnostic codes. They didn't change the entire digestive system. So it was specific ailments that people had that they changed. That for GERD and IBS, you received a higher rating now for what people were going through, because most people were going through things that were affecting them more drastically and they just weren't receiving the compensation for it. So that's why the digestive system changed. But in that instance, people were notified. It was given an information like, hey, effective date was May 15 of 2025. So everybody knew that was going to be the change. I also made a video on that people can watch if they choose to, which breaks down the changes to the digestive system. That was with time, and that was there. Instead of changing the entire digestive system, they went ahead and just changed the certain ones that they saw can be changed. In the instance though of medication, that is something that would generally cover every single diagnostic code. Now, like I said, for some diagnostic codes, it would cause an issue. For others, it wouldn't. But you have to look at it like this. Any medication, any ailment that you had, that you have been prescribed any sort of medication, migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, GERD, muscle relaxers, painkillers, whatever medication, heart issues, high blood pressure, all that stuff, that would be considered medication that you are receiving. That would be considered medication that is assisting you in your disability. So that would be able to be changed. But then not only was it medicine would also fall into, because you have to realize the generalization of how they put that in there. Medication not only meant prescription medicines, that would also mean medical devices. In the case of a CPAP machine, in the case of a hearing aid, it's a very general thing. So that's why a lot of the stuff was so vague and people had problems with it, because it's vague. it opens up a lot of room for interpretation when there shouldn't be any kind of interpretation or chances of you thinking this or thinking that when it comes to the CFR, because the CFR basically puts it in black and white. You will receive a 10% rating because you have this. You are dealing with the CFR. It tells you specifically this is what it is you are dealing with. This is the rating you will get. If you are receiving medication or you had a surgery or you've had to had some sort of procedure done, you will get this percent. Now, if you have medication and you have stomach issues, well, you don't have the same stomach issues because you are getting medicated for it. You are getting prescribed a medicine that is helping you with that. That means that you are not dealing with that situation as you say you are. Same thing in my instance. I use the CPAP machine every night. Do I have the same sleep apnea? No, because I have the CPAP machine. But if I don't have the CPAP machine, my wife is always punching me and moving me because I stop breathing. But that doesn't mean that I don't have the ailment. That doesn't mean that the VA and the military didn't cause it. Because then that would mean a restructuring of the entire CFR. Now, if you have to restructure the whole CFR, that's going to take years. This administration doesn't want to wait years to make these changes. They want to make these changes as quick as possible. They want to make these changes as quick as possible while they have the ability to do so. Because the prior administration was trying to add more, while this administration is talking about condensing and lowering the amount, being more, as they want to say, efficient. But you can't provide healthcare if you don't have the doctors to provide healthcare. It's just not possible. If you want to save money, that means that you wouldn't have to be paying to contract all these outside entities to make this work. So that's the part where people need to realize and people need to understand that this change was a major thing, but the backlash and the ability for veterans to come together, which it was MAGA, non-MAGA, MAGA, it was just like everybody saw the effect as a veteran, and you saw all of these different entities, all of these NGOs, these nonprofit organizations, like the Disabled American Veterans, the VFW, the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, all those organizations made a point to speak out on this because they knew it was going to affect people in their ranks. It was going to be a major effect on people within their organizations. Because, like I stated earlier, there's 19 million veterans, only 8 million of them receive disability compensation. And I was corrected earlier in one of my videos that I believe it's 1.8 million of those are at 100% permanent in total. So 1.8 million people are permanent in total compared to 19 million. So now look at those numbers, and it's just like 1.8 million veterans is not diluting the system. 8 million veterans is not flooding the system because not all of those veterans use the same resources. Not everybody's rated for the same thing. Not everybody goes through the same procedures. And especially, not everybody is located in the same locality because you have different regions, and in those different regions, you have different VAs. Now, is the quality of the VA in all of them the same? No. We've heard testimony, we've seen committee hearings where one location may have great results, and that's because they can provide their doctors, they have the nurses, they have their orthodontists, they have their periodontists, they have all the stuff they need at that location. But then you may go to a more rural place, more out in the woods kind of place, and they may not have those same resources because you may not want people moving. Hey, doctors want to make money too. They studied and they probably got to pay off all those school loans. They're not going to go try to work in a place that's not going to pay them enough. Well, that's the problem that the VA does have. But then at the same time, they were trying to pass the Elizabeth Warren bill that she produced, which would have removed the cap on being able to pay what they pay medical doctors. Doug Collins was full of shit though, because at one point he did state that anesthesiologists were starting at 600,000 a year. I don't know where this man gets his information from, but I don't know where the hell that happens. I think everybody would change professions if it was starting at 600,000. And we all know it's not 600,000. And how many anesthesiologists do you need? You don't need hundreds of them in one location. You might need two or three, which will have a heavy workload, but then you don't want to burn them out and have them leave. So you got to compensate people. So that is an issue when it comes to it. Compensation is a major factor when it comes to veteran care. But at the same time, veteran care is not going to get better when you are laying off a lot of the people that you wanted and should have been keeping. So if you're not having the assistance, you don't have the capabilities of actually upholding the medical practices, paying these doctors, keeping these doctors, you fall into the position where what's the easy route? What's the easiest way to get veterans taken care of? Put them on medication. Well, we don't have time to send you to a chiropractor or to somebody that's gonna take care of your back. So what we gonna do here? Here's a whole bunch of muscle relaxers. You got a whole bunch of refills. All you got to do is go on the mobile app, go to your VA app. You can even you can resubmit and send your stuff through there now. You can refill prescriptions through your phone. You don't even have to call the VA no more. I was like, look how easy that became. But then it's funny because you start seeing, I was like, wow, you just made it so easy for me to get refills through my phone. And then all of a sudden you want to make it that it's also easy for you to change my rating due to the fact that I can now that I'm using medication. You see, like I tell people, it's a step-by-step process when they do this. This isn't something that just magically happens. This is something that it is a process when they proceed with it. The process was basically, hey, how can we make it easier for veterans to get medication? Because that VA, calling that VA hotline, you on that damn phone for way too fucking long. By the time you decide, hey, I need a refill, it's just, man, fuck this shit. You're like, fuck it, I ain't even gonna bother with it. I'm not even gonna bother with the refill. And it was just like, if that's the case, then it's just like, well, let's put it on the app. I was like, you use the app. Yes, the app is 10 times easier. But then all of a sudden, when you push out information saying that your medicine will contribute to your rating now, isn't that a weird coincidence? Or maybe I just find it a coincidence that you went from not having that ability to do that because they wanted you on the phone, but now they made sure that it's way easier for you to get a refill. And then all of a sudden they want to say that that same ability of using medication is now going to be used towards your rating. I don't believe in too many coincidences when stuff just lines up like that. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not. I, I'm tired of being naive. You literally have to understand and view that possibility of, hey, that's what they were planning to do. But the other part that was more concerning to this is the fact that no announcement was made. That I think was the bigger slap in the face to a bunch of veterans. Because the thing is this administration has a lot of veterans that vote in their favor. And that's known. There's a whole bunch of MAGA veterans. We know that. The ones that are always talking about, oh, you're gonna take my weapons and all that, those MAGA veterans ain't going nowhere. They're the same ones that always push that same rhetoric. Now you have the chance, you have a higher percentage of losing those voters if you're telling them you're gonna take away their benefits. Because remember, they don't want to do anything to take away benefits. They don't want to lessen the they want to drain the swamp, but not towards veterans. Of course not, right? Of course not. But then the procedural stuff that you've been doing has been to eliminate the opportunities and the benefits that they have. So slowly chipping away at things where most people don't see. What's up, Emma? What's up, Vegas? It was just like that. Those are the things that people don't realize, and those are the things that people don't pay mind to. Those are the things that people don't want to pay notice to. But when you place it in a easy to view factor where it's like, hey, you could be going for a disability rating. Hey, what's up, Jeanette? It was like, you can be going for a disability rating. You could be filing for a rating. You would have gotten a higher percentage. Oh, but you on medication. Ooh, we can't do that. We can't give you the higher rating because you're medicated. So it shows you're better. You may not want to admit that you're better, but you're doing better because of the medication we're giving you. So you don't deserve the higher rating because remember, it's going to go off of the information you provide. And if the information you provide is showing that the ailment that you are dealing with is no longer that damaging to your ability to function because of this medication, well, then you don't need 100%. If you have major depressive disorder and you're on medication now, you could have been at that 70%. You could have been at that 100% rating because of your major depressive disorder. But your medication makes you better. So maybe we can drop it to 50% because you're not as disabled. But then that still goes through a long process because you got to remember when it goes through the process of doing that, when you are being reevaluated, you have to be shown, it has to show at least 2 times that after being evaluated, you have progress that gotten better. What's up, D? I was like, you have to be able to show that. If you can't show that you have improved 2 times, they can't lower your rating. But the thing is when you open up that can of worms when it comes to reevaluating, it's not only the thing, because you got to understand also with a lot of veterans have their ratings due to secondaries. There's veterans that do have their primary issues, and that's how they got to 100%. Like in my case, I don't have any secondary causes. All of mine and stuff that has been documented over my time, whether it's bulging disc, dislocated this, tears here, and this muzzle stuff, all that stuff is documented, and it's been documented throughout my career. So I was able to get 100% without needing secondaries. But for a lot of veterans, there's secondary claims to a lot of their disability. They might have started with, let's say, well, you started with sleep apnea, right? And that sleep apnea caused insomnia because you weren't able to sleep right. And you're always tired, a chronic fatigue syndrome. That's a secondary, meaning you have sleep apnea, which you have service connected, and then you claimed being tired. Chronic fatigue syndrome. You got that because you were always tired because you weren't breathing right, you weren't sleeping, your body wasn't resting. That's a secondary effect. If I'm looking at the fact that because you have a CPAP machine, you're sleeping better, that means you shouldn't have chronic fatigue syndrome as much. So now I can remove the rating for your chronic fatigue syndrome or lower it or just remove it because of the fact that, hey, you guys sleep apnea, but hey, you sleeping well. I'm counting the fact that you have a CPAP machine, which now you claim the secondary effect was chronic fatigue syndrome. Well, you can't be chronically fatigued if you always got a CPAP machine, which it shows is working. See how that starts a slippery slope? Because then that's the same thing with anything else you may have. Any kind of mental health issues, it'll be a lot easier to be like, you know what? You are dealing with this, okay? Well, you got this, but you're medicated. So that secondary that you say is being caused by that is not actually being caused by that anymore because of the fact that you are being medicated. You see how that slippery slope starts sounding a lot worse as I continue talking? You see how that starts making it sound a lot worse? You start listening to the stuff and you start understanding. It's just like, shit. I was like, well, if they start here, when are they going to stop? Because the thing is remember, you filing for an increase would be the same thing. Because if you're dealing with an ailment, but you're medicated on that issue and you filing for an increase, what you going to increase if the medication is making it better? See what I'm saying? Like, that's why there was this big regard. But the bigger issue was more than half of veterans didn't even know this shit took place. So that's the thing. If people like myself that pay attention to these things, if a lot of veterans that make these notifications and publicize this and made these videos on it didn't do that, most veterans wouldn't have known. Not many veterans are associated with the American Legion, the DAV, the VFW. They don't have those associations. Some get out the military and they out the military. They don't have nothing to do with the military after that. But for those instances, in those cases, some of those people found out through those organizations like, hey man, they made this change. Most people don't know that you can actually write a comment on it because that's how it is with most proposed changes. When they make a proposed change, they give the ability for people to make comments on them. That is on regulation.gov, like the video I posted on there. I believe that was the last video I posted today. Now it's just like, it shows that, and it's just like, this is how you go and you would place your comment. You can put your name and you can say how this would affect it. And the thing is when it comes to these comments, sometimes you have medical professionals that leave their actual theoretical thought process. You have sometimes that is just regular people that leave their process or their comments and stuff like that. Because the thing is this happens for all rule changes, whether it's your VA housing loan stuff, your veteran readiness and employment stuff, when it comes to cemetery stuff, all these different rule things are proposed. They just don't come into effect like, hey, we gonna come up with this shit, boom, day one is getting. That's not how it works. But this is how they tried to slip this one in, and people pay attention. You have a lot of veterans that pay attention to this information because it's vital information. It's information that affects every veteran. And not only that, what most people don't understand is it affects active duty. It affects anybody that's planning to join the military. It affects anybody that has to do anything with being a service member or being a part of our military branches. Why? Because the military isn't forever. And all them old heads already know that. All those retirees know that. The military isn't forever. You could join at 18. You still ain't gonna do this the rest of your life. You might give it a good 30 years. You still 48 years old. At 18, you can do 30 years if you choose to, and you still 48 years old. So at one point, you're gonna have to deal with the VA. If you do 30 years, your body isn't the same. If you do 4 years, your body isn't the same. rucking, running, doing all these workouts without proper stretching, doing all these random fucking training exercises that it's either you rucking or you doing this or you being attached to a unit or you having to lug this, and it's just like your body don't come out the same no matter who you are. You can say whatever you want, but your body does not come out the same. Nobody joins the military and comes out the same person afterwards. It just doesn't happen. It just does not happen. No matter how much you want to put into it, no matter how much you want to say. When you join the military and you get out, you are not the same person. You gained some of yourself and you lost some of yourself in that time. But this is stuff that people need to pay attention to. But this is the power of people coming together and making changes. Cause the people that said that, oh no, my benefits and my stuff is gonna go untouched. He's gonna help all veterans and stuff like that. That crowd changed pretty fucking fast when it came to, oh shit, we gonna take your money. Awfully fast. The quick turnaround of just like, damn. I was like, damn, they're gonna take my benefits. They're gonna take the compensation I do get, even though it's not a lot because I'm medicated. Oh no, we got a problem with this. Now we have a problem because it's gonna affect us. Because when people told us that's what they were gonna do, we didn't want to believe them. Because they didn't know what they was talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't. The research I did this whole time and all the stuff that I made people see and explain and gave examples and showed them the documentation, I didn't know what I was talking about, right? Now all of a sudden people will open their eyes to see that nobody would have been safe under this because they've already acknowledged in committee hearings that they have been feeding a lot of documentation of people's DBQs, personal statements to AI. They've already confirmed this. This has been said in the committee hearings. If you don't, you have to go on to, you can go onto the YouTube channels of the House of Representatives Veteran Committee, the Senate Veteran Committees. You can go and watch those videos, and those videos explain and they go through the hearings. Is the shit boring? Fuck yes. Boring as hell. But the thing is you get to listen to Secretary Doug Collins try to explain. You get to listen to the part where the VA tries to bring in, like I said earlier today, those experts that just, you know, happen to know that there's so much fraud going on and so many veterans are abusing the system and they should be working to get better and they shouldn't be, thinking that it's gonna be worse. All that nonsense. Those are the same ones you keep hearing. That's the same shit you keep hearing regurgitated from these people. But then you can actually see a visualization of who they are, because a lot of them are officers. A lot of them are prior officers that now work for a think tank, and they want to say, oh, well, veterans take advantage of this, and a lot of veterans fake it and this stuff like that. And it was just like, if that was the case, why do we have so many veterans that don't have any benefits or obtain the benefits? If it was so easy. Because that's the misconstrued part that comes from society. Because society doesn't know. Society gets those snippets from those hearings, from that information. Like, hey, you know what? What was it? What was that? Was it the Washington? Was it the Washington Post? Can't remember. If it was the Washington Post, the one that said that, oh, veterans make too much money. Make too much money. Veterans make too much money. And it's like when you hear that, and you don't have anybody in these committee hearings having an actual veteran speak against it. All they have is this so-called military officer expert to speak against everybody else that's still fighting to get their compensation. You have an officer that, I'm sorry to say, if you were an officer, You weren't on the grind like the enlisted was. That's as honest and as real as you can be. If you were an officer in the military, you did not go through the same grind and punishment as the enlisted side did. It just doesn't happen. When you do training and all that stuff, who stays in the TOC? That officer do. Who's outside in the cold? Who's outside? What? How many officers you heard of burning shit the whole time in those burn pits? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. How many times did you see a captain go outside and just let's mix this on up, right? How many times did you see that? It happened though. Don't get me wrong. It did happen. But I will say like 90% of the time, it was an enlisted person, grinding literally that shit around. Going on those convoys, going on those house clearings, going on those patrols, rucking with that 240, lugging that 240 and ammo, lugging that 249 with ammo, carrying those ammo cans. Sure as hell wasn't them officers doing that. But those are the first ones and the same ones that they always have in that briefing that is always like, well, they need to be doing this. And I was just like, these people need to be better because they need to get better. And I was like, a lot of them are just overweight. Like one of the funniest things that I heard while watching one of those committee hearings was when they were talking about sleep apnea. And then one of these assholes had the audacity to be like, well, the thing is a lot of veterans end up with sleep apnea after, they get out of the service, they gain some weight. So them gaining weight is the cause for their sleep apnea. And then I thought about it. I was just like, bro, I was in the best shape of my life when I got sleep apnea. I was still in the military when I did the sleep study. It probably had to do with fucking pulling 24-hour shifts every day or so for fucking 7 months. That might have had a problem with sleep schedule and not being able to sleep right. And doing that in the fucking middle of the fucking desert. It might have been an issue. That might have been. But I guess me gaining weight after the fact had something to do with the fact that I got diagnosed with it while in service. Because the thing is most of these officers, they didn't go through all that. So they will try to make it as like, hey, man, this isn't, yo, shit ain't that bad. You didn't go through that bad. It wasn't that bad. Like, no, bro, you were in the office the whole fucking time. What the fuck is you talking about? Of course it wasn't that bad for you. Your experience in the military was 10 times different than mine. Oh, Jeanette, I know that. I know for a fact that there's service members now that I was in the best shape of my life. I was in Hawaii. I was able to run every day. We ran every day, basically. 85-degree weather, no clouds in the sky. You could do training all the time. And I couldn't sleep well. I wasn't sleeping well. That was after I came back from the deployment, but then I got my sleep study there. And they were just like, yo, you got sleep apnea. You got moderate sleep apnea. You stopped breathing a whole bunch of times. And I was like, oh shit. I was just like, but I'm in great shape. Like, that's my thought. I'm in great shape. Like, why the fuck would I be going through this? I was just like, I think I had the lowest fucking body fat percentage I ever had when I had that. And I was at like maybe like, I think it was like, what was that? Like 17% body fat or some shit. Talk about you got sleep apnea. I was like, come on, 17% fucking body fat. Like, how you gonna tell me I got sleep apnea because I was fat? But I had 17% body fat. It was just like that. It was just like, but that's the thing. That's where most people don't do that. And that's why I hate sometimes when these committees have these hearings, because most of the time they just have a one-sided effort and they never have somebody contrary to whoever's speaking. So they will have that person that is speaking on a topic, but they will never have an opposition towards it. Because if you're telling me that you have somebody that's trying to explain that you have sleep apnea because you got fat after the military, then you should have somebody explaining how people have sleep apnea while in the military that are in shape and aren't fat and didn't get kicked out of the military for being fat and they got sleep apnea. Those are things that you need to be able to explain, because then what happens? The picture that gets painted to the rest of the country for a person that never served in the military, for a person that never had anybody in the military in their family, it paints the picture like, damn, they just got fat. That's why they sick. They just got fat. It wasn't because the military did that. They just got fat. So now that's the thought process that a lot of this country has, that, oh, service members are lying, service members are committing fraud, service members are getting fat, and they get paid too much. You start putting that combination of shit together, people start listening and start talking. It was just like, why are we paying these people for that? Why are we supporting these service members if they're just fat and lazy? But those are still the same people that raise their right hand and volunteer to serve this country proudly. Yet you want to treat them like crap. You want to take away benefits. You want to restrict stuff. You want to lose stuff here. You want to, lower benefits here. You want to restructure the VA health, which is an interesting concept to me, because the thing is, Reggie, I know that sleep apnea. That's the thing. Sleep apnea causes weight gain because of lack of sleep. But that's what I'm saying, Reggie. That's the part that they don't talk about in the hearing. That's the part that they don't explain, because that supposed expert is just there to put down and talk down on the issue instead of actually having factual backing. You never have an actual fucking doctor in these committees. It's always some retired officer that works for some major corporation now. It's just like, yeah, you probably never went through anything crazy because you didn't do much the whole time. When's the last time you seen a fucking lieutenant colonel digging a foxhole? Please tell me. You didn't see those people doing that shit. Once you've made it, look, you might have done something your first 4 years, which was when you were a butter bar and a first lieutenant. But then you became a captain and you took command. After you took command, you didn't do a motherfucking thing to lift your fucking hands. You had inventories, you wasn't laying shit out. You were just doing all the paperwork. You were making sure the training and see, look, somebody said they've been on a medication for 11 years and gained 25 pounds. It was like stuff like that happens. But a lot of the times, it was a lot of those officers that go into these committee hearings and they want to make that statement. Once these officers, any officer and everybody in every branch understands that once an officer reaches captain, from there, they are not doing any heavy lifting of any sort. They can if they want to here and there, because you do have those leaders. But the majority, as a major, were you ever putting up a fucking tent? Were you taking down the tent? Were you helping jump the top? No, you were just making sure the positioning was right. As a fucking lieutenant colonel, you sure as hell wasn't doing that. As a full bird colonel, you wasn't doing that. Once you got your star, you were being driven around everywhere. Talk about, oh, you got your personal driver, you got here, you got your per diem, you got a lieutenant that does the shit for you. You got your own personal damn maid, damn near. Fucking so tough about that shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, so that's the thing. But in cases like this is what happens. Information gets put out, and if people don't do the right thing and push back, we have this instance. And like I said, this has been happening with this administration the whole time. With everything that has been ongoing, this administration has been sued. They needed a lawsuit. It only took like 48 hours for a Vietnam vet and a couple of firms to sue the Department of Veteran Affairs. And Doug Collins was just like, shit, we is not gonna win this one. We are not going to win this battle if they take us to court. Because there's already precedents showing that two other court cases have been shown, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, that state that medication cannot be used for their rating. So literally, even with these court cases already placed, they were trying to put that on top. And then the fact, if y'all were here earlier today, where the supposed one of these people that is on one of these other channels that uses a lot of the gaslighting tried to tell me that, oh, that's not going to have an effect on anything. Imagine that supposedly it's not going to have an effect on anything, but here you are rescinding and halting what just happened after stating that nothing was going to happen because of this change. The same way you have veterans that want to assist and take care of other veterans, you have other veterans that are just fucking salty and mad at the fact that other veterans have what they don't. Usually those officers. Because those officers never had to go to sick call. What the fuck are you going to get hurt from? Paper cut? You mad at the person that goes because they went to take care of themselves. Notice how that changes quickly, right? That's a quick, easy change for those officers. And I was like, nothing against officers, because I worked with some great officers, but they never did all the shit I was doing. And me, even as a staff sergeant, motherfuckers would tell me like, bro, you need to stop doing that. That's what you got your E5s and your junior soldiers to do that. I was like, no, if we gotta empty out a connex, I'm gonna be up in the connex with them. I'm not gonna be fucking waiting here. That's one less body helping. If your ass would get off your fucking high horse because you thought you was a senior and actually help out, this might actually go faster. This might actually move a bit faster if you got off your ass thinking, oh, well, I'm a senior, so I'm doing good, bro. Doing as best I can, recuperating. Was sick the past 2 weeks, but that's what it is. That's what people need to understand. People need to understand that thought process. That is just like, you have to fight for it. With this administration, unfortunately, you have to go through lawsuits, or you have to go through the justice system, or you have to go through litigation to make sure to explain the stuff and not allow them to get away with the stuff that they're trying to. Because this is a blatant disrespect of the law by just trying to emphasize and in play and place into the Code of Federal Regulations a dynamic that would change the rating system for everyone. Because the thing is like I said, that doesn't stop. Like, if people were doing that when it came to filing for disability, filing for an increase, filing for something new, that would open up anything that you had medication towards. Because then it gives them the ability to reevaluate your ratings because of the fact that you opened up an evaluation. Well, shit, you getting medicated for this. Well, might as well check you. Since you're getting medicated for that, might as well check this. Might as well check that. Oh, you taking that? And how many fucking veterans don't have a fucking pharmacy in their fucking pantry or their fucking bathroom cabinet? Please tell me one. Sub Dean. I was like, please tell me one. Please tell me what veteran doesn't have a cabinet full of different medication. Shit, if y'all seen that committee hearing, there was one committee hearing where you had you had this woman, I forget what the committee hearing was. It had to do with veteran affairs. This lady had a bag. And she's like, these are the medications that I got prescribed by the VA. 1, 2, 3. Oh, but this one doesn't interact with that one, so I can't take this one with the first one. So then they prescribe me this one. So if I'm taking this one, then I can't take that with the first two, because the first two would give me a weird side effect. So they give me this third one to put on there. And she just kept on pulling out medication onto the thing. On the table, she ended up with like at least 12 different little medicine pill containers. And that's all she had been prescribed. See, look, Peanut says I'll take 12 pills in the morning and 9 in the morning and then 13 pills at night. That's how many pills he's taking. That's somebody telling us how many pills they take per day. So now imagine that person being reevaluated because of the fact that he has so many medications that are helping him get through the day. And imagine then saying that, oh, you taking these medications, so we're going to lower your rating because these medications you're taking. You see how that becomes a very, that just don't make any sense. That just isn't right. But those are the things that people don't speak on, people don't understand, people don't view, and that causes a lot of problems. So that's why I just like, my biggest thing off of this whole situation is that right now, veterans, we got a win. We got a win because he came out and said, hey, we are going to halt this stuff. We got a win. But we're not done. It needs to be rescinded out of the Code of Federal Regulations. Because what he stated was, we are not going to enforce it anymore. It is still in the Code of Federal Regulations. It is still a part of the regulation. What we need for Doug Collins to do, and whoever the fuck decided it was a good idea to put it in there, is to remove it and put the Code of Federal Regulations need to go back to what it was prior to this change. That is when we can say we are successful. Because the only thing that's going to happen is that, hey, right now, it's on pause. Give it a couple of weeks. Every single veteran gonna forget about the shit. And do you really think Doug Collins is gonna make an announcement like, hey man, we starting the fucking we unpause this. We are starting it over again. No. You think they're gonna make an announcement? They didn't even make the announcement that they were implementing this change. You think they're gonna tell you when the change is gonna restart again? No. Because the thing is it still has an effective date of 17 February 2026. Whether it gets paused or not, that is still the effective date. Meaning that then, since it's on pause now, if they were to unpause it later, if you filed after 17 February, you still gonna fall under this new fucking criteria. But they ain't gonna tell you that. They didn't want to notify you now. But that's the thing, Peanut. It won't even be like they sneaking it in. It's not even going to be that they're sneaking it in because it's already in there. You see what I'm saying? There's not going to be anything that they're sneaking in. They're just going to do it now because it's already there. It's already in the regulation. It already has the effective date. So that's not going to change it. It's not going to be them sneaking anything. Now it's just going to be them administering what the CFR says. And how are you going to be able to fight it? Because the thing is Doug Collins made a statement. Was anything changed in the CFR? He just made a statement. Was anything changed in the CFR? Is there actual documentation stating this has been halted and it reflects in the CFR? No. So how long are you halting it for? I'm just asking questions, y'all. Y'all know I like to ask questions. Y'all know I like to ask questions because I just think of stuff that is just like, I just like to ask questions. And that's the question I have. It's just like, how long was it halted for? So he just said, we're going to halt the enforcement of it. He didn't say we was going to get rid of it. He just said we're going to halt the enforcement. So how long is this halt for? So he didn't specify that. Does anybody know? If somebody knows and it has been said, please give me that information because I haven't been privy to that. But please tell me where I can find where it states that it has been halted till a set or certain amount of time. Because then if you tell me that, then it makes it a lot more easier to understand. It was just like, oh, he stated it was going to be halted and they are not going to continue this till said date. But nowhere does it say a certain date. Nowhere on the CFR. Shit, I could check the CFR right now. And it says displaying Title 38 up to date as of 2/18/2026. Title 38 was last amended on 2/17/2026. So what changed? That section. Functional impairment, where it says to ensure that disability evaluations are based on the actual level of functional impairment under the ordinary conditions of daily life, the medical examiner will not estimate or discount improvements to the disability due to the effects of medication or treatment, whether or not medication or treatment is included within specific rating criteria. If medication or other treatment lowers the level of disability, the rating will be based on that lowered disability level. That is me reading it directly off of it. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you to you because I can do that. Hold on, I got to make sure that page is... 1 second, so I can show you how the page. Let's go to studio mode, screen captures, and this will be, which one is this? There we go. All right, we'll go back to this scene. And now I should be able to show you that. And here we goes. This is basically what it shows. This is the change. This is the change being implemented. This is literally what got changed. It's highlighted. Because when you go onto the CFR, it will show you what it is that is changed. And it tells you this is what is highlighted. This is the new addition or the new change, so that way you're able to look at it. And you can go back. I'll click back and show y'all where I went, because basically if you go to the Code of Federal Regulations, the CFR, it will show you displaying Title 38 up to date as of 2/18/2026. Title was the last amended 17th, which was when this change was enacted. Then there have been changes in the last 2 weeks to Part 4. View change. Scroll down. Was not showing on this. Hold on. Can't scroll any further down. Hold on. I can't scroll any further down on the screen. So, but if you scroll down on the bottom, it shows 2/17/2026, tells you what it is. And as you scroll down, it'll give you a breakdown highlighted of what it is. So it shows you the Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4, Subpart A, General Policy and Rating, and then the squiggly, I don't know what you call that symbol, 4.10 functional impairment. And once you click on it, it will take you to and highlight what that change was that was changed. So that way you can see what the change actually was and what actually it is that you are dealing with. So that's something that basically, that's why it's like I like to do these on screen and stuff like that, because it allows me to show people what those changes are so you can visualize what it is I'm talking about. This isn't me just talking out of my face. If you're on TikTok, you can go over to VetAwareProject.com or VetAwareProject on YouTube, and also I am on Just Cruise Talks on YouTube also. I'm streaming simultaneously to TikTok, Twitch, and both my YouTube channels. And it's just basically covering that so people can see it. The better resource is the at VetAware Project, because that's where all my veteran resource stuff is there. The cruise talks, I've just been doing this, and I figured I might as well talk on both these platforms since I have the ability to do so. TikTok is minimizing my exposure, so I'm trying to get more exposure through other stuff. What's up, Ty? But that's just basically the explanation of the changes that have happened. So that shows you what it is happened and what the change is. So now you know that it's just like medication will be there. And like I stated, that change was made February 17th. Doug Collins made mention of halting it, but nowhere is there a mention of how long it is halted for. Because the thing is I can tell you I'm halted. And then the thing is anybody that is filing a disability claim after February 17th, I can still process it with medication in hand. I just won't say that, but I can go through the process of having that medication be counted. And then when it comes to it, like, hey, because remember, how long does it take for you to get your ratings? 4 or 5 months. 4 and 5 months time, most of the veterans that have had this uproar towards this change in the regulation are going to completely forget about that. Completely forget about it. They're not going to have any idea what we were talking about today, February 19th. In 3 or 4 months after they filed, they find out that they don't get a higher rating. But the thing is most people won't know that. Why? Because on your disability rating sheet, it is not going to tell you that you got the lower rating because of your medication. Or maybe it will. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to change when it comes, because the thing is it's going to have that change in there. I don't know if that's going to be stated on your thing. Because the thing is most of the time it tells you, you did not meet the criteria for this percentage, so we gave you this percentage. I don't think it's going to specify, oh, it's because you on medicine or you on medication. Maybe it will. Maybe that's a change they're going to implement, but that's the thing. This was put into motion so quickly that we don't know the ongoing steps. It's like this administration likes to do that. It was just like, we'll do this. We'll figure it out as we go. And all that does is hinder the ability for veterans to be successful. Because the thing is if you're doing this to supposedly cut costs, after you supposedly already cut so much costs on all these contracts and then all these layoffs, it was like, shouldn't you have enough money to now just take care of us? You're not paying supposedly the money that you were wasting, which was supposedly a waste, fraud, and abuse, right? So then you saved all this money. So shouldn't that be benefiting veterans going forward now? Shouldn't be that big of an issue. Appreciate it, Peanut. Yeah, I have this one. The Just Cruise Talks, that live, this live here, that is the regular one, my regular account. The at VetAwareProject is the veteran page. So either one you watch on is fine. This one, the Cruise Talks one, isn't monetized yet. The the Vet Aware project is monetized. So if you would like to support more, I would love for y'all to be on there. But if I can get this channel monetized too, it's helpful. I'm gonna be doing this going forward. Like I said, it's gonna be I am on Twitch, I am on both my YouTube accounts, and I am on TikTok. So I'm on every platform basically. I was gonna try Kick, but I don't want my computer to blow up, so just doing it this way. But like I said, and that's how we'll do it. But these are conversations. These are conversations that we have to continue to have and continue to speak on so that people understand the ramifications of these changes happening to people. Because a lot of people don't understand that, hey, if we are having these changes being implemented, it has an effect on all veterans, on all, whether they filed a disability claim before or they're planning to. And it has a big effect on service members that are now on active duty or on National Guard or reserves. It has an effect on them because going forward, they will have to deal with that issue. Because remember, when you're in service, what do they want you to do? They want to make sure you are deployable. Your daughter will be at Fort Riley in an hour. She doing over here, Gina? It's too cold over here. Tell her to go back. It's cold as shit out here. But that's the thing. It's just like you have to understand that those active duty will end up being vets at some point. And while you are on active duty, that PA, those doctors, what do they push? They push medication because they want to make sure you are fit to fight and you are deployable. If you are fit to fight and you are deployable, that commander's happy. That battalion commander's happy. That brigade commander's happy. That division commander's happy because you are deployable. So they're going to give you medication, but then that medication is also going to go through the process. Mm. I don't miss it. I don't miss drill. I don't miss, well, I never had drill, but I don't miss being out in the field. Not in for, ooh, damn, to go to the field tomorrow in this cold, it's going to be cold as shit the next couple of days. Mm. Don't miss it at all. Do not miss having fucking foot long icicles on my fucking pop up tent. Yeah, don't miss it at all. But you know, that's the instance that people need to understand. This stuff, as long as we continue to talk on it, but that's the thing. People need to voice out and they need to react to it. Because the one instance that this actually benefited was the fact that all these organizations came together and went after it. And it was a lawsuit that happened damn near instantly. Within 48 hours, a Vietnam vet and a couple of law firms had already filed lawsuits against the VA for doing so. The VA knew it wasn't going to win those. But the thing is now we have to find out. Now I'll do my digging and my research to see if this lawsuit is still in place or if the lawsuit was dropped. Because like I said, in the CFR, it does not, I just showed you what the CFR shows. And the CFR shows the change, but it doesn't have a to be replaced, halted until, or anything of the sort in the regulation. That regulation is still as in effect, and that change is still in effect as of February 17th, 2026. It just has been halted from being enforced with no end date or no date to know when it's going to happen. So, what's up, AR? First cap. No, it's first brigade over here at Riley, man. Shit. I'm not that far from Riley, but it's cold. It's getting cold tonight. The temperature dropped. We just had like 70-degree weather, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be at 30s. Like, bro, what? That damn groundhog need to find his ass. But yeah, that's the thing I wanted to harp on and I wanted to touch on because it was just like literally I made the videos pushing it out about what happened, the information for people to understand the ramifications, them having the lawsuit, and then literally I think it was like maybe within 20 minutes of the lawsuit being announced that they submitted it, I saw another update coming out like, oh, Secretary Doug Collins just made an announcement saying that they halted the enforcement. I was like, damn, that was fast. But like I said, it is not in writing how long it is not going to be enforced for. There's nothing in writing. I don't trust anything that isn't in writing. She better keep on driving, Gina. Don't stop anybody. Nowadays, don't stop. Riley, in this area, well, I don't know where Bell is, but yeah, shouldn't be doing anything like that around this area. Just keep it going. Get gas and go. So that's why I never stop for gas unless it's like full. I always fill up full. If I'm halfway, full. No, I don't go past that. My complexion doesn't give me that availability, I would say. But yeah, as always, if y'all have any questions about this or anything in general about it, just always feel free to ask questions. Because that's the only way we have these conversations. And it's just like, these are the things that people need to have that interaction. To have that interaction, you need to be able to be successful in talking on this. Because the thing is just like, hold on, you said she has to babysit. Oh, her nephew. I thought you were gonna say her niece. I was just like, I have a friend that has a niece here that their mom is on drill, and I was just like, that would be a weird coincidence, but different people. But like I said, that's what it is. I was like, we'll continue to do this. Like I said, we're gonna keep on doing these lives. Um, some of them are not always based on VA stuff. Yeah, I know that I'm usually more on the political side, but this leads into the political side. This has that reference of basically how this administration is working and how veterans get affected by it. So that's something that is just like we will continue to do. Um, I got started a bit earlier today, so it seems like that may be as of help, but times fluctuate. Kids are kids, but this information is still going to be pushed out. I'm still going to be paying attention to that. I will make videos as long as you do that. Some people ask questions about being grandfathered in and stuff like that. It was just like, hey, anything prior to that gets taken care of with the prior CFR. Anything after the 17th of February gets processed with the new changes. And that's what it is for any of those changes. That's why the effective date is very important when it comes to any changes that comes through the CFR. But the CFR ranges and changes, and the things that happen there are entirely different. You can't be stuck on the things because there's a lot of things that happen within the VA. And like I said, the VA is a very vast and very large entity. So when it comes to changes, it can be changes to the health, it can be changes to the benefits, and those are two different administrations, still within the VA, but two different branches. Right now, this is part of the health, and then there's the part of the benefits, which is like the GI Bill, the VA loan, and stuff like that. Two different entities, two different branches, and that's something that you have to pay attention to because they are two different things, but changes happen on each side. If you are interested in doing that, I will show you where to go. Where's this shit at? What's my keyboard? This keyboard always turns off. You can go to regulations.gov. Let me show you that. Regulations.gov. You can go here and this will show you the information. You go in here and it'll tell you what it is. Dockets, documents. You can go to documents. You can search for what it is that you want, what bureau, and it has a breakdown of all the different agencies. All the different agencies. And they have all the different stuff that changes, and that's throughout all of the agencies. And they have the information that's proposed, they have the rule changes, and all that stuff is broken down in here. Department of Veteran Affairs. Hit apply. Then from there, you can break it down to the different documents. So cost of living adjustments, that was posted on February thing, service connected benefits, and it'll give you a breakdown what it is. You can click on that and it'll tell you the summary. As required by the Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act of 2025, Public Law 11942, the VA is hereby giving notice of adjustments in certain benefit rates. These adjustments affect the compensation program. Then it tells you what it is. This is basically telling you how much you're getting paid. This is the rating, because that's something that was put into the law, basically stating, hey, this is what the law is mandating, that we publicly state what it is being changed, or what the COLA rate is. This is the document, this is the information. So that's how you would get it from there through regulations.gov. And then here on the left hand side, if you see, it has a notice, a rule, supporting and related materials, proposed rule, and other. You could go to proposed rule. Providing a minimum evaluation for bradycardia. You can go on there and you click on it. And then, like I said, the proposed rules, you can see that, and it tells you what it is. So the Department of Veteran Affairs proposes to revise Diagnostic Code 7009, bradycardia, to provide a minimum 10% evaluation after pacemaker implantation. This revision will allow VA to align DC 7009 with DC 7018 implantable cardiac pacemakers. Comments must be received by March 31st. So this is how they go through the process of explaining and telling people, hey, this is how this change is going to take into effect. This is what we are proposing. We are proposing that we are going to change the diagnostic code on this manner. And then it gives you the background, minimum evaluation, the notes and the information, how it'll change, how it'll look, and it'll give you that information. Now, if you want to go ahead, like I showed for the other one, and you want to provide a comment on this, you would go to document comments, and you can read the other comments that people have left. Some you got to download because it's attachable files. Some is just comments. And then it's people saying their own stuff, how they feel. So this one is just like, not many things get me excited. You could say that I have a melancholy personality about life that defines. Like, some people just talk nonsense and some people go into it. I was like, I naturally felt pessimistic about it. Not much of a regulation, just right for not much of it, I usually say. But then when I read this rule and I saw that you want to give me minimum 10% evaluations to veterans with pacemakers, is comparable to the assignment of 10% evaluation to other diseases of the heart when continuous medication is required. So basically, he's agreeing with the fact that it makes sense because of the fact that if you are implementing a pacemaker, it is the same thing as having a continuous medication routine to get it. So it's just like, it makes sense. He's stating that it makes sense for them to do that. Some people may disagree. Some of them agree. Some of them, like I said, you have people that comment that are anonymous. Some of them are doctors. Some of them have that stuff, and you can do that. And that's why I said with the this change, there's over, I think it's 10,000. I think there's over 10,000 comments already. Expansion of process for 72-hour notification of emergency treatment. See, this one was closed for comments. And that was basically talking on the proposed changing the rule of how long you have to notify the 72-hour period when it comes to. Appreciate you, Joshua. I was like, but these are all proposed rules, proposed rules, proposed rules, and they have closed for comments. Because these are rules that they are basically trying to do, but then they do take the information and the notifications of what people state. So if you are stating, no, this is going to be in disagreement because of this, or no, I don't agree with this, it will explain that and give you the opportunity to leave a comment on said topic to basically resonate what you're trying to say. So if you are trying to say, no, I do not agree with this because this will cause damage to this, or this will cause this, you need to explain it, and you have the ability to comment on it. Now, how much in depth they go into these comments and how much they read all this stuff, I can't tell you. That I can't tell you. But if you have most of these comments that are negative towards this thing, they are going to see that this proposed rule is not in agreement with most of damn near everybody that's saying that. So of all the people that have filed for that stuff, a lot of them have disregarded it and do not want anything to do with it. They don't want it. They're like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not. Nope. Sorry. We don't want any of this. And let me see, which one is it? Is it A? Because that's the thing. Like I said, this stuff being in there, it's not finalized. It has to be removed out of the CFR in order to make sure that it doesn't go through. Which one was this? It was AS49. So I'll show y'all again. Main share screen. There we go. AS49. See, and here you go. Comment, document comments. You have over 10,000 comments. You have 10,680 comments that have been made on this. And that's just comments and comments and comments. So literally you have the ability to keep on creating a comment, and you can give your justification. You can give how it would affect you, how it would be a detrimental thing for you. And that's how it would show basically how much of a detriment. Appreciate you, Jen. I was just like, that's how it would show the detriment that it is towards the people that are doing it. So if you don't agree with it, you can leave your justification. Oh. But you can make those comments there. You can go and you can leave a comment. You go comment, you could type it out, or if you want to upload information, because you got to remember, sometimes, like I said, sometimes you have medical professionals that agree with certain rule changes and certain ones that don't. So you have people of all backgrounds that will leave a comment. If you want to leave a comment, go ahead. Say how it's going to affect you. Like I said, who reads it and how much they read it, I don't know. But if you have nothing but negative comments of how this is going to be a hindrance towards you, how even though you are medicated, you are not a successful person to be able to, or viable to be able to do the things that you usually do, even with all medication, that is something that you need to explain and you need to put into writing so that they understand your point of view. Basically, them understanding that it's just like, hey, even though I am medicated, I still deal with PTSD. I have my triggers, I have my trauma, I still deal with it. So even though I am on medication and I don't have the same outburst, I still have my outburst even with the medication. So lowering it will not help me because it will lower my compensation. It will lower my ability to take care of myself, even though I am being medicated for it. Like something like that being explained is a big difference compared to, hey, we're just going to lower your rating because you're on medicine. Yeah, I know you're depressed, but you on medication. You ain't as depressed. See how that sounds? That sounds kind of crazy when you tell somebody it that way. I'm just like, yeah, but you know, you're not. You're better though. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. That's what you're telling people. You'll be all right. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right. And then when you do it that way, that's a bad evaluation. But like I said, it has to be rescinded out of the CFR. Till it's not rescinded out of the CFR, we can't celebrate this as a victory. And it was like, yes, you got a lot of these agencies and organizations praising. It was just like, oh, we want to thank the VA for doing this. It was just like the VA was the ones trying to screw you over in the fucking first place. What the fuck you thanking them for? Shouldn't be thanking Secretary Doug Collins for pausing this. It was under his watch that they were instituting it without notifying people. You can't thank somebody for trying to screw you over and then stopping the fact that they stopped screwing you over. And you want to thank them? Nah. You got to make sure to stay on him, make sure that it gets removed and the CFR gets changed back to what it was prior. Not to try to keep it in place so that way people can continue to use it that way and see it that way. Because that's what's going to cause the bigger issue. Because most people are going to take it as, you know what? We won. We don't got to worry about it. It ain't going to change. I ain't got nothing to worry about, right? It's just, he got rid of it, right? That's the thought process that everybody's going to have. He got rid of it. We don't got to worry about it. It's not, this isn't something to be concerned with. And then the problem is going to be that people are going to get evaluated. People are going to go through the process and they are going to get, they're going to get the short end of the stick, basically. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to get the short end of the stick because they are not going to get their rating that they're supposed to get due to the fact that it was placed in the manner that it was placed. So that's why it's just important to keep on this. And like I said, it shows the ability that people have to make change if they fight for it and they go for it. But it has to happen in a manner where you are paying attention to it. If you're not paying attention to it, you're not going to be successful. The same way you got to have your documentation, you have to have your stuff. You have to make sure that you are providing all the documentation to provide and show what it is you're dealing with. With this administration, even more. With the changes that they're trying to do, even more. You have to make sure that your documentation is correct, your diagnosis is correct, your imagery that you get shows the problem, the documentation of the diagnosis from your doctor explaining why it is you got diagnosed. All that stuff has to be on point. Because the thing is with this VA going forward, they are going to try to become stricter on it. It's already been put in Project 2025, which I know a lot of people want to say it's a mythical fucking document. But it's already in there and it's shown. They're going through those processes. One step leads to another. With this step, it leads to another step. With the fact that they want to include medication, that is to be able to lower and reduce people's ratings. If you are reducing and lowering people's ratings, that means you're paying people out less. And then once you start doing that with medication, you can start going to the later things which are stated in there that they would like to remove secondary effects because they don't feel that secondary effects were caused by the military, so they shouldn't be compensated. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother topic. Because there's still steps that they have to get to that. But that is what they want to do because they basically put it in there. It was like, hey, a secondary effect wasn't caused by the military. Why are we compensating you for it? So that would also remove a lot of people's compensation and a lot of ratings because I said a lot of people have secondary effects which has caused their disability ratings to go up because of the secondary effects. Now, if you start removing those secondary effects, there's going to be a lot of people that don't have the same rating evaluations or the same percentages anymore because some tied it from one issue to another. So that's something that is important to see and important to view, and you have to understand that. That's something that you have to see. So, that, like I said, that's something you have to pay attention to. Just keep on documenting, keep on getting the information you need. Keep going to see a doctor, keep going to see a therapist, keep seeing all the people you need to, and continue doing that so that that way you continue to have documentation to support any claim or any issue that these people may want to bring up. Because they're trying to cut costs. They want to make it seem like veterans are the biggest cause. But all the contracting and all the audits that the Pentagon can't pass is not the cause. But all the money that's going to take care of the people that fight the wars, deal with the wars, deal with all the stuff, that's in question. So like I said, you got to keep paperwork. The same way you're in the military, keep all your paperwork. You go to the doctor, keep your paperwork. You did this, keep your paperwork. You went to urgent care, keep your paperwork. File it away. Make sure that it's in a folder, wherever you're gonna put it, so that way, you know, to me it sounds like the new beginning of Agent Orange. It was just like, that's the thing though, because in that case, Peanut, the issue with that is like, you got to remember, a lot of costs went up due to the PACT Act. The PACT Act caused a lot of people to be able to get help that they were being denied for before. That's the thing. A lot of people got, the PACT Act enabled a lot of Vietnam veterans to get assistance because of what they were dealing with, which where they were previously denied because there was no service connection for. So yes, costs did go up, but that's because the prior administration was actually trying to take care of veterans. So costs are going to go up if you got to take care of more people that you weren't taking care of before because they were being denied the fact that Agent Orange caused them this cancer. So now that that's changed, yes, cost is going to go up because you had an influx, like I said, of almost 2 million extra veterans filing disability claims after the PACT Act came out. So yes, it's going to cost more because you're going to have more people to take care of. That's easy math. But the fact that you are trying to cut the cost, you are trying to cut the cost of what all those people just signed up for. You are cutting the cost, cutting the doctors, cutting the staff. That's not going to benefit anybody. And then you're going to state it's going to go to community care, which means you now have to pay contracts to find more doctors in every region that would be able to suffice and supplement the doctors that you don't even have on staff. Meaning you're going to have to pay out more to those contracted entities because you can't even have somebody to pay in the VA to be seen. So you're sending them out to the community, which is going to cost more because you got to pay the community. If that person gets overbooked and you want them to take more people, you're going to have to pay them even more. Or you're going to have to find another person to do a contract because you don't got anybody at your own VA to take care of people. It's like, never have you seen an outside contracting cost cheaper than working from within. Never. You ever seen a consultant from any agency, any corporation, pay the person that they have in-house the same as the person that they just hired to come in and consult? No. It's going to be the same thing with the VA. It was like, you want to cut costs because then you want to be able to funnel money into certain contracts where you think is beneficial or where the VA thinks the money should go, which is usually to the pockets of people that they know, because that's what this administration has been doing. So it's not like they're going to decide, you know what, for the VA, we're actually going to do this the right way. Let's not be naive. It's going to be the same process. You're going to contract people, and then you're going to have contracts that make no fucking sense, but they're being paid to people that they know, people they work with, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a fucking bad situation all over again. And then after this administration moves out and the new administration takes over, whether Republican or Democrat, they're going to be like, damn, Doug Collins, what the fuck were you doing? You were just spending money left and right. Even though you said you saved money, you ended up spending more money on shit that wasn't necessary. That same money could have gone to some doctors or somebody within the VA, but you spent all this money to make sure this brand new LLC that don't even really exist just got this contract. See what I'm saying? That's how the same thing. It's the same fucking process. You just switching over where the money's going to, because you cutting all this stuff. That means you laid off people, you laid off jobs, you laid off essential people, you cut contracts. You should be saving money. But the fact is that you want to restructure the VA Health Administration when the VA Health Administration doesn't need restructuring. It needs people. Well, VA facilities have been understaffed for years. And that's even before the PACT Act gave it more funding. So you cut more people, you have less people, you have the same. You're supposedly trying to speed up wait times because you're going to community care, but that means now you are paying extra entities on the outside to do a job, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a good job. But that's the thing, Aaron. A lot of people complain about the VA because they're ignorant. It's not because the VA is mad. It's because they thought some shit was supposed to fucking just be handed to them on a silver platter. All these veterans left the military and all of a sudden they forgot what hurry up and wait means. The contract holders, you don't know because it's anybody can sign up for it and they can get a contract. The way these doctors and stuff like that, it's going to be people that they have, probably going to be with corporations or entities that they know. Yo, what up, JC? That's what it most likely ends up being. It's going to be, watch, they're going to probably end up working with some sort of healthcare corporation. Probably end up teaming up. Let's team up with Blue Cross Blue Shield or some shit. It's going to be one of these major corporations, and then they're going to probably put the money into that. And then from there, that money's going to be used for what? To basically pocket and line the pockets of those big hospital corporations, which is still going to provide the same fucking care that you would have gotten through the VA. But now you paying extra money for these corporations to make that money. It's the same process, just recycled. People just need to understand that. That's what a lot of it is. A lot of people don't understand that process of going through that scenario. Because that's all it's gonna be. It's gonna be we're gonna restructure. We're gonna restructure and we're gonna give the money to these big corporations because these big corporations are going to enable us. They are the go-to. These people already have the infrastructure. They already have the doctors. All we have to do is incorporate their network into our network. And then from that network, we're going to be able to have contracts with them directly so that way you could directly talk. Y'all already know how that gimmick goes. Y'all already know how that goes. You don't need to restructure it. If you restructuring, that means that you're trying to get rid of what you don't find convenient and you can't funnel money into. Because you can't funnel money into some shit that works. Because it's working. You got to funnel and get money for shit that this shit ain't working. I can't imagine we don't have enough people, but I spent the whole first year of my fucking administration firing people. Hold on, what? How the fuck does that make sense? We don't got enough people, but you spent the whole first year getting rid of people. Getting people that were on probation periods. Trying to get people to retire early. I thought you were short-staffed. Why would you try to get people to retire early if you were short-staffed? Wouldn't you want to keep them around for a bit longer instead of telling them they can retire early and collect the check? See what I'm saying? How that don't it don't make sense, but that's what they're gonna push. That's what they're gonna tell you. That's what it's gonna be. That's the information that is gonna be pushed for people, and that's what people are gonna get. Yeah, you're gonna go to urgent care. And who has a contract with urgent care? I have an urgent care facility right down a couple of blocks from me that's affiliated with the VA. So if I have anything, I could just go over there. But what does that mean? Do I get a consistent doctor? No. I get to see whoever in urgent care takes care of me. How am I going to get continuous care if I don't have the same doctor? Because the thing is I can't see the doctor I usually see because I'm always going to urgent care because this is my best alternative than to actually get to see my own doctor. How are you actually providing better care that way? See what I'm saying? It was like there's different aspects to it. Now, hey, unless these people have a better thought process that I haven't thought of or I can't think of or anybody else know a better way of this happening, that the way they're doing it is going to be successful, by all means, please tell me. Because the way I see it, it ain't going to work well. When something gets privatized, it doesn't become better. Because then what happens is that there's less accountability, there's less inspections, there's less basically visibility onto what's happening. Because the thing is now let's say you do contract these people. You can't just randomly go and inspect these people. You already under contract. If I made a contract with you and it says for the next 2 years I'm going to be seeing people, you've already paid me, bro. I don't give a fuck what service I give you. You already in a contract with me. Unless it stipulates in the contract that I've done such a shit ass job that you can cancel it, which you know damn well isn't going to happen, I'm going to get paid. You might get some shitty ass service. I might give you the shittiest ass CMP exams. Oh, you thought you was going to get a good evaluation? Nah, bro. We just evaluating it. We don't really care what you got. We just getting paid. But if they work for the VA, you can make a complaint and that person could lose their job. A contract, though, they're going to be, oh, we won't do any more contracts with this person, but we got to finalize the last 2 years. Like that Elon Musk shit. Oh, we cutting contracts, but we still paying them out. So you didn't save no money if you still paid them out. You still paid out the contract. You didn't save no money. You literally, all you did was you stopped the contract, but you still paid them. It's the same thing that's going to happen with medical professionals when it comes to the VA. They may do a shit ass job. You may have people that complain all the fucking time. And what's going to happen? They still going to have their job. They still have their contract. They still going to see people. Because at the same time, the same way how the regular VA works, you're going to have some people that be like, yo, this VA sucks. And then you have people in that same VA that be like, yo, this is the best VA I ever went to. That's what it is. You don't get that actual stabilized care because the thing is if you are able to get stable care where the doctor has that same record and it's not a rotating fucking window of doctors, you can actually get better care that way. Because then the thing is they know what's going on with you. You have a history with this doctor. This doctor has seen you and treated. Oh yeah, I remember when I treated you for this. You know what? I'm gonna recommend this for you. Here you go. This is what I need you to do. I've already seen that you've had back spasms. You know what? Let's get you an MRI. Linda, I'm so happy to see you. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see you, Linda. Hope you've been doing well. And I was just like, that it is what it is. That's what it is. Nah, you good, Peanut. Don't worry about it. You ain't gotta excuse language or anything like that. Shit, I gotta excuse my language. Y'all hear me talking like a fucking sailor. But You got to be honest with people. That's what it is. With this is just like that's gonna be the process. If that doctor has seen you multiple times, that doctor builds that repertoire with you. They start understanding what your issues are. They start knowing, hey man, yeah, last time I seen you, you had back issues. You know what? Let's go get you an x-ray. Let's see what it is that's causing this back issue. But if you had a back issue this time and you go to the next one, okay, Linda, you take care. Oh, it's just like if you had a back issue, you had a back issue and they know you had a back issue, that same one is going to ask for an x-ray, try to see and get to the bottom of it. But if you got seen by one doctor that known you had back issues, and then the next time you go to a whole different doctor and they're trying to start the process of the back issues, I was like, well, I see in your report it says you had back issues. Can you tell me what's going on? I bet you didn't take the notes. The last guy didn't put the notes down. Like, why do I have to keep explaining myself every single time I've had these back issues? Like, there's a history of me being here. You see what I'm saying? That's what causes a lot of stuff with veterans because they don't have the continuity of care. You don't get taken care of continuously by the same person. So if you see revolving doctors, you don't get nowhere. Because every doctor's trying to find out the new reason, and then that doctor might think one thing, he might operate another. This one likes pushing medication, the other one likes pushing physical therapy, the other one is just like, you know what, we gonna do acupuncture. Like, you see what I'm saying? Every doctor operates differently, so you don't build a repertoire with it. And then sometimes it'd be like, look, you're the person that doesn't like taking medications, right? And then they put you with the doctor that likes to prescribe nothing but medications. You're gonna dislike the VA. You're gonna dislike wherever you at. Because you want to be paired with the person that works and understands who you are, what it is you want to go through, and how it is you want to fix the situation. But if you in the process of just like, hey man, we're gonna go with physical therapy, and you already went through physical therapy and you know physical therapy ain't working, and you on the side that it's like you want to get medication instead, people gonna be like, you know what? Gravy, thank you for all the shares. It was like you gonna do that, and people gonna be like, you know what? We ain't gonna do this. We not gonna do this. I was just like, this person wants to push medication, or this person wants to push physical therapy. I went through physical therapy. I think it's time for me to try some medication. But that doctor might be like, no, we're gonna send you through another 4 months of physical therapy and see. Like, bro, I already told you that shit don't work. And that's where a lot of the confrontation and a lot of the problems go, because some doctors, they want to listen to the patient. Some doctors are there for the patient, and some doctors are there for their pockets. Because remember, some doctors make extra money when they are able to prescribe you something. I was like, well, I got another prescription coming from this guy. I was just like, yep, let's push it on down. I was like, Cruz, high blood pressure? Oh yeah, throw this at him. That's money in my pocket because I got another prescription to go through. People don't understand that. That's why medication is pushed all the time. That clinic, that pharmacy, they make that urgent care makes a cut out of you getting put on some kind of medication. Because that means you went to the doctor, they're getting paid, they're prescribing a medication. So some company or whoever makes that medication is paying them because it's like, hey man, thanks for putting Cruz on fucking medication. Now we making money off of him. No, it's okay, Linda. It's okay. We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll chit chat. But that's the part that people don't explain and people don't get into a lot. People don't talk about that. That's the thing. You gotta wait time. You got all this stuff. It was just like all these things matter. All these things combined cause more problems with people. Oh, Blue Cross Blue Shield is shit. All these insurance companies and all these health agencies and all that, they're all shit. But the thing is if they work through the VA, you won't get denied for the shit because you're gonna be put into a referral for them to go through it. but that doesn't mean you're gonna get the best fucking care. That's the one thing. Just because it's paid for doesn't mean. I was like, look, I served in the military. Every service member served. Every veteran served in the military, and they can attest to the fact that yeah, you got free healthcare. That don't mean it was the best shit you got. If you served in the military, you can attest to that. That you had free healthcare. That shit was not the best. That shit was usually, hey, bro, take this medication, be on your way. You got a fucked up knee, hey, rest it for 2 weeks, you'll be good to go in 2 weeks. Bro, what? You like, what? And that's how it was. That's how, and then, but then what does society think? Society will be like, oh, but you have free healthcare. You can just go to the doctor. I was just like, my doctor told me to take ibuprofen like 1,000 milligrams and keep it fucking moving. No, the VA does have some good places. The VA does have some good doctors. The thing is that not all of them are the same. And then sometimes you got some asshole ass veterans. That's the part where a lot of people don't want to talk about. You have a lot of asshole ass veterans. You got a lot of entitled veterans that think they deserve everything. I was like, bro, I serve too, but you don't see me being an asshole because I just want to be an asshole because, oh, well, I'm out. I used to get everything done for me and shit like that. So when I call, they got to answer me right away. Who the fuck is you? That's not how this shit works. That shit might have worked while you were in the service when you were a senior where you had everybody moving quickly for you. But when you out the military, that shit don't work like that. You might have been able to tell people, hey, I need you to do this. In the civilian world, they don't give a fuck who you were. You called them. You called to make an appointment. Now you think, because you were in the military, that person on the phone has to do everything you ask or everything you tell them to do. No, they are doing their job. They're not gonna jump out the fucking roof just to make sure. Oh, you gotta make sure. Hey, Cruz called me. I gotta make sure. Hey, you want an appointment when tomorrow at 9 o'clock? Sure, don't worry. I'm gonna cancel everybody else's shit and make sure you get that appointment. No, that shit don't fucking work like that. But you have a lot of ignorant ass veterans that believe that it's just they have to have everything done their way. People have to do it that way, and it's just like, but that's a conversation a lot of veterans don't want to talk about. A lot of veterans don't want to talk about that shit. They want to stay quiet. We're just like, we don't want to talk about that because, veterans are always right now, bro. Veterans is not always right. Because you can see the pieces of shit that was in service and everybody worked with somebody that was a piece of shit. They're the same piece of shit that's on the outside trying to act like an asshole to people that are just trying to do their job and help them. So, no, let's talk about it, Cruz. It was like, it's not much to say because the thing is like, you have these assholes. These people are assholes. There's veterans that have been assholes. They were assholes in service, and you can tell they were pieces of shit, and they were horrible soldiers. They're the same pieces of shit outside the military. That didn't change. They went through that thought process of them having power and respect in the military, and they think it just changes over to the civilian side. Don't no civilians give a fuck what rank you were. You could have been a general. I don't give a fuck. You still got to wait for your appointment. The next appointment is in 3 months. You want it or not? I don't give a fuck if you were a general. That means nothing outside. All those evaluations, all those awards means nothing. If you are calling to make an appointment, you are waiting like everybody else on a first come, first served basis. We have an available appointment at this date. This is when I can give you this appointment. It's not because you were a high rank of this that you're automatically gonna, I'm gonna clear this. No. But that's part of the problem also with the VA and veterans. And that's part of the stuff that they don't mention. That's the part that people don't cover. They don't go over that part. They don't talk about that part. They don't talk about the part that some veterans are just assholes, and just because they don't get what they want or they don't feel they got enough of what they should have gotten, the VA sucks. And then they continue to push that the VA sucks. And then they tell the next veteran, hey, bro, don't go there. That shit sucks. No, bro, you were the piece of shit. That VA worked perfectly for me. You don't like it because they didn't kiss your ass. So now you want to say that it's a terrible VA or that they didn't take care of you. No, you were an asshole. So they didn't go out of their way to make sure you were good. There's a difference. Because you can't tell me that most people go to a VA and they say it's a great VA, but then you got 2 or 3 of those is like, man, that shit suck. They didn't take care of me. The person's always an asshole. And I'm just like, damn, if everybody else is saying this place is good and you the only one that's saying that they were assholes, maybe you were just the asshole that day. And that's why they treated you like shit. Because they remember, it was like, oh, Cruz? Oh, I remember. Is that Cruz the one that called that other time they gave you attitude? Oh, yeah, I got something for him. Oh, yeah, you need an appointment? Yeah, yeah, your appointment, 7 months. You'd be like, God, night. Yeah, and exactly. You know, those same ones are the ones at the VA raising hell. And it was like, and you wonder why people ain't trying to assist you. You are a piece of shit. It was like that's what it is, and people don't want to say that. It was just like you can't tell me that every VA is trash, because you have some VAs that get rated, and it was just like if the VA is so much trash, how come you never have an ICE complaint or a complaint on that facility or on what they did? Why isn't it that everybody has the same complaint as you, but it's always some of these specific ones that have a certain complaint on a certain place because they didn't get their appointment? Or they were told the next appointment was in 6 months, but they didn't understand the fact that they were understaffed and they don't have anybody. But then also that same person doesn't go to their provider and say, hey, the next available appointment for this specialist is 8 months from now. Is there any way you can put a referral for me to go and speak on the community or go to community care and try to obtain a faster appointment? You never hear that veteran do that. They'll just badmouth the VA and say it was a piece of shit and this is a terrible place and this is no, you could have asked your provider. It was just like, hey, the next appointment for this is 8 months away. Can you put in a referral or send me to a place which allows with community care that I would possibly be able to be seen faster than 8 months? Or that, JC, exactly. Next appointment is in 6 months. Yeah, I'm going to urgent care. I'm going to the emergency room type shit. You know what I'm saying? It was like there's always something, but that's the thing. Most of these people got, I'm sorry to say, they got institutionalized by the military and they got used to, hey, things are going to be done for me. I'm going to have a defect. I'm going to have a barracks. I'm going to get paid for this. I'm going to have this allowance. I'm going to have that. I'm going to get a clothing allowance. I'm going to have this. I'm going to be given a house. I'm going to be given all that stuff. They get used to it and they think that the VA is just going to do the same thing. You no longer in the service, bro. You're not. All the stuff you had in the service, that was in the service. You are out now. Now you are a veteran. You still have to take responsibility in what you do now. While you were in service, they made sure you were good. You had to make sure you went to medical at least once a year. You had to make sure you had your flu shot. You had to make sure you had your PT test to be fit. If you got sick, you had all. They made sure of that because they needed you to be deployable. When you are a veteran, it is on you to take care of yourself. The VA ain't gonna call you for shit. The same way the VA ain't gonna file your disability claims. If you didn't file that injury or that stuff, the VA isn't going to go out their way to file it for you. That's on you. It's not on the VA. That's the Air Force, Linda. Air Force is very picky. They're very picky. So they're picky. Air Force is the Air Force. The Chair Force. I love y'all, but Chair Force. But that's the reality of it a lot of the times, that a lot of people don't understand that and they don't want to comprehend that scenario where, yes, the VA is not going to go bend over backwards to make sure you are always taken care of, and you are not the priority. There's other people that are priority in front of you. There's priority groups. Most veterans don't know that there's priority groups depending on your rating. You are in a priority group. There's 8 different priority groups. Depending on what you fall on, you are priority. If you are at the highest level on the priority list, you get first dibs because they know you are worse off. What? Damn, that's great. But that's the thing. It's just like, it's a priority. People don't understand that. People don't want to acknowledge that. There's priority lists and you get priority. So if there's somebody that needs the assistance more than you, they are going to get a first crack at that appointment before you do. It was like, if you've had fucking heart palpitations or you had heart issues and stuff like that, where you've almost had surgery or you may require surgery down the line, they're going to be first to see a cardiologist besides you that you just had a little flutter. And that was it. Never had any other things. This person has a record of having a lot worse palpitations, fucking murmurs, all that stuff. The EKG has gone crazy. They're not going to put you in front of that person. And that's what it is. Most people don't understand that. Most people don't. It's just like, most people just think that they go and it was just like, well, I joined and it was like, and since you said that, then they will give you the referral, that part. Yeah, they'll give you a referral to go somewhere else. Because the thing is the priority is that person that might need surgery. Yes, you want a cardiologist, yes, because you have heart issues. We understand that. But yours isn't life threatening right now compared to that other person's life threatening. We want to make sure that person gets seen first before you do. You are not going to leapfrog a person because, yes, you are important. You still will be seen. But a little flutter compared to needing surgery is 2 drastically different things. But that person that wants to have that referral will make sure to go out their way to have a whole YouTube blog, a whole fucking YouTube channel talking about how the VA sucks, they trash, they didn't want to take care of me, they said they weren't going to look after me, they said all this. And it's just like, bro, just like, they told you it was 8 months. Now you just going out wild and crazy saying all this, knowing it's not true. But that's what it is. That's what those veterans will do that. And that's what a lot of times they don't talk about that part. That's a big influence when it comes to the VA. A lot of the people that say all this shit, there isn't that many. I said cruise at night. What's up with that? There's like, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of this outrage and stuff like that is not that many. They always exaggerate the numbers. Remember how for Donald Trump, half of the country voted for him? But half of the country would be 150 million and not 77 million. It's the same thing with those same veterans. It was just like, hey, all veterans think the VA sucks. Speak for yourself, bruh. You ain't speaking for every veteran. Because most of the veterans I've ever spoken to, they love the VA. My doctor take care of me. My doctor take care of me. That's all I fucking hear from veterans. The ones that always have a problem are the ones that had a shortcoming of some sort. Like the example I like to give, on one of the workshops, I was talking about the HUD-VASH program, which is the homeless veteran like voucher program for veterans to get off of the streets and be able to get into a home through a voucher system. This man said that the VA was trash, it didn't help him, and it didn't do nothing for him. Mind you, when he was homeless, these programs didn't exist. They didn't have the voucher system. They didn't have those homeless recreational housing that they would be able to put. They didn't have that. So he determined that the VA was a piece of shit, and he was bad mouthing the VA because he said that during his time when he needed the help, they didn't have the programs. So that's why the VA was a piece of shit. And I was like, so you've been talking to other veterans about the instance where they didn't have a program when you were there. Does that suck? Yes. That doesn't mean that they weren't trying to help you. Did you advocate for yourself? Did you go to the resources? Because there's been resources for the VA for homeless people. It wasn't the HUD-VASH program because that got implemented, but it was definitely not that they were just going to leave you out in the street. Oh no, I know that's all over. That's all over, Peanut. Because in New York City, you see a lot of vets. You see a lot of homeless vets. You see a lot of homeless vets. And some of them would just be like, well, the VA don't want to help me. I was like, bro, when's the last time you went to the VA? See, it was like, let's see this. This is the first statement. Does it show the hold on, let's see something. This is the message that you come across with. Jason Miyamoto. So, are you a veteran? I just found your page and seem to be bad mouthing veterans, or do you work for the VA? I was like, so you just came across my page. You haven't seen anything else that I've done, and you haven't seen anything else that I've said. And the first thing is that you're saying that you highlight the fact that I'm bad mouthing veterans. At one point in time, did I not say anything specifically correct about what I was saying? Please enlighten me. Linda, exactly. Me, the person that advocates and helps and does nothing but help veterans. But please enlighten me. I was like, now I would have understood if you would have found me on my Just Cruise page, because that one I don't have most veteran stuff. But if you found my page, that would mean that you would have seen that the information I have and the information I have provided is to assist veterans and that I am a veteran. But it's always people that want to come in and do that. The same way somebody appreciate you, Mike. He said, have a seat, bro. Well, like I said, when I entered the page, all I hear is the veterans is a piece of shit. First, I would never talk about another veteran like that. We don't know what they are going through, calling. I was just like, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Let's start off with that. First off, You came into my channel. I didn't invite you here. I didn't tell you to stay. I have the right to call veterans a piece of shit. Because the thing is if you mean to tell me that you are a veteran yourself and you didn't serve with any pieces of shit while you were in the service, you're not a veteran. Plain and fucking simple. Plain and simple. If you served in the military, you served with pieces of shit. Oh, you're a veteran also of 20 years Navy. So you mean to tell me you served for 20 years and you didn't serve with no pieces of shit in the military? Mm. It's always a, are you a veteran? Are you a veteran? And it was just like, do any of y'all do any sort of research before y'all open your mouths? It's always the same. It was just like it gives me those vibes. Like I'm trying to be as cool, calm, as collected as possible because this is for veterans, right? But you always have ignorant veterans that want to come in and want to be like, oh, you shouldn't be talking. I would never talk shit about another veteran. Then you probably shouldn't have been a leader in the first place. Because not every veteran was a soldier. Every soldier, every sailor was not a good one. You had the pieces of shit. You distinguished yourself because you weren't one of those. Or maybe you were, and that's how you got to where you are. But the fact that you can't fucking admit to the fact that there was pieces of shit that served alongside you, you probably never served, or you just one of those that likes to run your mouth to just run your mouth. Cause ain't no way. It was just like the funny thing about it is that it's always somebody. Oh, Spark, appreciate the donation. Wish me luck. Just apply for peer support job, Indiana. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't worry about that. I appreciate the donation. No, just like it's always people that come in that don't know who you are, that want to question and make statements about what you're saying, but don't do any actual valid research. You had other people in this in the comments, because the thing is I didn't even have to answer. The people that are in my YouTube channel, I have assisted them and I don't charge a motherfucking thing. I've probably done more for veterans than you've done in your whole 20-year fucking career. I don't need your likes or your type of people in here. Because the thing is if you can't be honest with people, you shouldn't be a part of these conversations. If you can't tell people the honest truth of what's going on and what people are going through, you shouldn't be a part of these conversations. I'll tell you that you're not welcome in this channel. Because the thing is to be successful and to be honest, you have to understand that everybody in the military wasn't a great fucking person. I have my ups and downs in the military, but that's me being honest with myself and understanding that, hey, to some people, I seemed like a piece of shit. But to most, I was a mentor. But the fact that you want to say you never spoke bad about anybody else means that you have sided with some pieces of shit, or you probably covered for some pieces of shit because you were too scared to speak out on the truth. It's that simple. That simple. See, this is what I find funny. I was just like, well, when you hear nothing, piece of shit assholes, I'd rather not get help with that attitude. You don't even know me. Your first impression is everything. I don't want, like, I'm gonna actually highlight this message so that everybody can see the ignorance of what he just said towards me. Imagine this is your imagine this is your retort. When you don't know me, you came into my channel and you could have asked and been polite about it. But you decide to state, well, when you hear nothing, piece of shit assholes, I'd rather not get help with that attitude. Then why are you still here? I was like, my first impression of you is that you came in here asking to see if I was a veteran or not. If you didn't know who I was, maybe you should have researched and looked what I did. If your first impression of me is that I was calling veterans assholes and pieces of shit because they were being pieces of shit, and you missed out on the whole explanation of me stating why they were pieces of shit, appreciate you, Linda. If that was the explanation for it, then there's nothing else I need to say to you. Because you heard the only part you heard was me saying that some veterans were pieces of shit, but you decided to disregard the information and the examples that I gave for those veterans being mentioned as pieces of shit. That shows that you want to have selective hearing. You want to have selective understanding. You want to have a lack of comprehension as a 20-year supposed military veteran as to thinking that you are above other veterans, where you can say and dignify what you believe is correct and what is not correct when you feel like it. You came to the wrong fucking place, dude. You could be on your way. Nobody's gonna miss you. Understand that. It's like, come on, man. It's always the same ignorant ass people. Always people that want to be ignorant when you want to have conversations. And you can't have conversations with actual intellect or talking on subjects because you always have some dumbasses that come in halfway through a conversation, don't know what the fuck they talking about. Shit, you could have asked anybody in the chat. It could have been as easy as like, hey, chat, is this guy a veteran? You could have done that. You didn't even have to address, hey, guys, hey, chat, I'm new here. Is this guy a veteran? Does he assist veterans? Why is he bad-mouthing veterans? No, but you wanted to make an ass out of yourself first thing as a first impression. Come on, bro. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Exactly, Zach. A simple, I'm missing the context of what you're talking about. Can you explain? Can you explain why it is you bad mouthing veterans? And that would have been an easy way to start the conversation than just trying to ask, like, are you a veteran? Because I just found your page. So you found my page and you didn't see anything else prior? You didn't see all the workshops I've done? You didn't see all the videos I've posted just assisting veterans? Damn. I'm gonna get a teacher. I'm gonna get the. We don't do that here. I'm gonna get a fucking picture because it's like, come on, man. It was like it's always the same thing. Hey, Spark, if you still here, quick question: when it comes to the peer support job in Indiana, is that through the VA that you're doing that? Stop paying attention. I had look. The same instance happened earlier today, right? I had a person that came in talking about they were a VA raider, and he goes on another one of the bigger channels on YouTube. The channel is CivDiv. I don't like to do because he always likes to gaslight people, and he always talks a lot of nonsense to try to gaslight people to watch his videos. I don't do that shit. I don't like it because he's been gaslighting people about the mental health changes and all this shit. So then this dude comes in because I noticed that's what they like to do. A lot of these other veteran channels like to go into channels and they'll send people like this because they try to see how much knowledge the person has and information that they can use so that they can try to disregard and downplay your knowledge so that way they can try to send people to their channel. Because what did he say? He was like, oh, it was just like, this change that happened through the VA is not going to affect anybody. It is not going to be a change. And then he puts the plug in. It was just like, oh, I just made a video on my channel. I was just like, oh, so you trying to come into somebody else's channel to disregard the knowledge they have by trying to implement and say that the video that you made explains everything, yet you were completely wrong on the subject. Got it. I was like, I'm trying to be as professional as I can be. The people on TikTok know how I am. The people on TikTok know how I am. On my veteran channel, I try to be as peaceful and correct, and I try to talk to people as best I can. But one thing that will not happen is I do not have a filter towards ignorance, stupidity, racism, bigotry, and just straight out fucking assholes. I don't have a filter for that. I will talk to anybody else with respect. I will give them respect. You ask a question, I will answer it. But if you want to be an asshole, you came to the wrong fucking channel. Because all these other channels is going to sugarcoat what they tell you. Because they want you to come back. If you want assistance, I'm going to talk to you straight up. If you don't like the way I sound, hey, then go get help somewhere else. But when they charging you for it, don't come trying to come back and ask me questions afterwards. Because I was just too blunt for you to like. You were in the fucking military. Everybody didn't talk nice to you. So here it is, a person being blunt and straightforward that's actually making sure to assist you. Not screw you over. Not gaslight you into some service. Not tell you this thing so that you can keep coming back because it's like, oh my God, the change is gonna happen, y'all. I need y'all to come back because, you know, the next video, I'm gonna explain when it's gonna happen. And then the next video, it never fucking happens. And then you keep going back and you don't learn a fucking thing. We don't do that here. We're here to help assist veterans. We're here to talk to veterans. We're here to show them how to be successful after military service. Which does not mean that assisting veterans only when it comes to disability compensation. He said, what was lied about? Are you talking about the prescription situation? Also, I think I joined at the wrong time because you coming in real hot and I don't have enough context to understand what's going on. What exactly are you talking about, Protocol? See, the people that know me know how I am. JC has been here for a long time. Mike has been here for a long time. Spark has been here for a long time. And they know I'm as honest as can be. And then on TikTok, everybody that's watching on TikTok, they know I am as honest and I am as straightforward as I need to be with people. The prescription situation, I don't know what you're talking about. I was just like, what was lied about? I didn't say anything was lied about. Because that's why I'm not sure. It was just like, I'm coming in real hot because people came in hot and they just thought that that they were gonna come into a channel and people were just gonna stay laid back. I was just like, nah, you get the same energy you push out. You wanna come in hot? I'ma be hotter. You wanna come and be an asshole? You thought you was coming into a channel where being an asshole was okay, and people were just gonna be like, oh, it's okay. Nah, bro, you came to the wrong place. You got questions you can ask. I answer them. You have anything to do with disability benefits and stuff like that, you ask the question, I will give you the answer. If I don't know what the answer is, I will direct you and show you where to get the answer. Here is to educate and benefit veterans all around. But assholes will be dealt with. I was like, that's the thing. People, the the biggest thing that happens with being online and speaking to people and trying to point your point across is that some of these people want they don't want you to be successful. You was talking about CivDiv, I believe in saying him talking about it won't affect no one, and when it actually does, are you talking about the prescription say? I didn't say CivDiv said that. I said it was HQ Raider, a person that has worked with CivDiv and came in onto my live earlier today and tried to state that the changes to the medicine prescription or medicine being put into the evaluation was not going to affect anybody. And this dude tried to argue with me about that. And then he tried to put a plug for his channel in my live while trying to be wrong and say that that change was not going to do anything towards people because he was a VA raider. And that's why I said he works with CivDiv. So if you are associated with that, right? If you are associated with a person and you are going on their thing on their lives saying that nothing is going to happen with that change, that means that person is also siding with you. Because they're on your channel and you're stating that it's not going to change anything for it. And then you're going to try to make all these statements, try to explain it. And then all of a sudden, here you are having the actual change in the regulation being halted because of the effects it was going to have. But here you are coming into my channel trying to badmouth me, saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, and that, hey, look up his channel because he's on this page, and this page is saying this, this, and that. And I was just like, bro, you're full of shit. You're doing that because you need people to keep coming to your channel. So you're going to say it's not going to affect anybody. But what you're doing is lying to veterans and telling them that the medicine change is not going to affect their rating. See, look, I was under the assumption that it won't affect anyone based off a CivDiv video. Does that mean he's wrong? This is my explanation. So people are going to CivDiv. If you're saying that you are watching a video from CivDiv, and he is basically stating that this change is not going to affect anyone, that is wrong. Because what it basically is stating with the change, which I pulled up earlier, showed what the changes state. The change was that basically medication will be involved in your evaluation process when it comes to your rating and your percentage. So literally, if you are taking any kind of medication, it will be a factor when it comes to rating your rate. So let's say you have migraines, right? For migraines, to have a migraine, and it is a basically the detrimental one, it has to be prostrating, right? Basically meaning that it knocks you out or you can't function. You got to turn off the lights, you got to lay down, no loud music, all that stuff. You have to do that, right? And that's how you get a 50, but that means you get multiple migraines per month, most of the time weekly or multiple times per month. I can't remember the specifics on it, but that's how you get the 50% rating for migraines. Now, let's say you are under migraine medication, which lessens the amount of migraines that you get because of the medication you are taking. Meaning that if you were to get reevaluated, Let's say you were filing for an increase, or you have that as a secondary connected to something else, and you get that part reevaluated. Medication will now be affected and influenced in that reevaluation. Because of the fact is that you don't get those migraines at the same capacity or same amount because of the fact that you have medication. So now instead of you getting that 50% rating for the migraines that you get, you would get possibly a 30% rating because your migraines are being affected by the medication and mitigating the medication, which lowers it to 30%, meaning you're not going through the same headaches and migraines the whole time. So for somebody to tell you that this is not going to affect people, yes, that is a lie. Yes, that is wrong. Because it's the same thing. They didn't specify. They said medication or stuff, meaning medication or any kind of, what was the fucking wording? Hold on. I'll even tell you the wording. Matter of fact, I'll show you the wording. If medication or other treatment lowers the level of disability, the rating will be based on that lower disability level. Another example, let's say you have sleep apnea. You have a CPAP machine. In order, before you got a 50% rating because of the fact why? You had a CPAP machine. So since you were given a CPAP machine, you got a 50% rating, right? But look at the change. If medication or other treatment lowers the level of disability, meaning you used to have severe sleep apnea without the CPAP machine, but now that you have the CPAP machine, you don't have severe sleep apnea. That means that your rating would then be lowered. So for somebody to say that that doesn't affect, and it doesn't, and it's not going to affect anyone, that's a very wild statement to push out to a whole bunch of followers that think that's not going to happen and then end up getting screwed over. Because if you're going to say that nobody gets affected, that's crazy to make a statement like that, that nobody's going to get affected. So you mean to tell me you saw his video and he states that no one will be affected by this change? That's crazy. that right there is crazy. Because this is the change right here. This is the entire change. That's the entire change. That is the entire change. And that is the part that was highlighted that was changed on there. So if you mean to tell me that you saw a video where a person went through this, explained this, showed you this concept, and told you that it didn't change, that it didn't affect somebody, the fact that they would say that it didn't affect somebody and then the fucking secretary of the VA had to fucking halt the enforcement of that should tell you enough of how wrong the person was to tell you that it wasn't going to affect anybody. That's crazy. Yo, D, have a good day, D. I was like, that's what I'm saying, D. It was just like to argue the fact that there's no change. It's just like, that's a very ignorant thing because then you are basically giving that information to whoever follows you, whoever watches your videos, whoever gives you that information. You basically just told them that this is not going to affect them, which if they are filing for an increase, yeah, he's basically spreading misinformation. But that's the thing, because the thing is people will come back to him because he's one of the bigger channels. If you're one of the bigger channels, most people are going to go and listen to you. They're going to keep on listening because you've been giving them information. But to fucking not have the correct information on something that is vital as this, that's terrible information. Yo, Hitman, what's up, my man? Good to see you, bro. Hope you've been well, bro. I was like, and that's the thing. It was just like you made a whole video stating that this wasn't going to affect anybody. Because literally, if you are 100% permanent and total, you wouldn't get reevaluated. But with this administration and all these changes, there's nothing that says you won't get reevaluated. Unless your ratings, unless you hit that 520, that 510, 20 mark on your ratings, chances are you can still be reevaluated. You can go to your doctor. If you're going to see your doctor and they're showing that you're progressing and you have continued progress, that's the ability for them to be able to reevaluate you. Because you need to be checked 2 different times. Playing Warzone. All right, my man. Appreciate you here, man. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. So imagine that, y'all. Imagine having somebody that is a big influencer pushing out this information and saying that it's not going to affect anybody. Because if that's what he's putting out in the video. I didn't watch the video because I don't watch the guy. I don't watch the information he pushes out. I was just like, a lot of times it's gaslighting people. If when I started following you, you started mentioning something about a change that was imminent to happen, and the change still hasn't happened, and that was 3 years ago when I found you, and you still have the same rhetoric, you've been having that same rhetoric for people for too long. And most people haven't caught on. I caught on way too fast, and I was just like, I'm not supporting this person and I'm not watching their videos. I was like, maybe they do have some good information that they put out, but if you're putting out information that this doesn't affect anybody going forward, that is the wrong answer. That is the wrong information to be pushing out. Because this is going to affect veterans. It's going to affect, imagine saying that and then having a Vietnam veteran and a bunch of law firms filing a lawsuit to then tell me that it's not going to affect anybody. You know how crazy that is? That within 48 hours, a lawsuit was submitted. That was fucking fast. That's one of the fastest fucking lawsuits I've ever seen from any entity that's a veteran entity towards the actual Department of VA. And then as soon as that shit came through, within like an hour or two after they had posted that, they was like, hey, bro, we halting this shit. We stopping. We made people mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, come on, man. It was like, imagine, I would love to see, but that's the thing. I don't waste the time. I don't waste the time to go and do it like how I do on TikTok. On TikTok, somebody make a dumbass video, I'll stitch it and do it. On YouTube, I don't waste the time to do that. I don't have the energy to do that on YouTube. On TikTok, I'll do it because it's a quick fucking view. On YouTube, I'm not going to go and create a video and try to edit it and change it and be like, look, this person was wrong. They're saying this. No, nah. It was just like, if people are listening to you, you have... We don't do that here. Soggy. We don't do that here. It was like, we're going to make sure the information is correct and we verify the information before we put information out. Because the thing is this information, when it comes to veterans, is very important and it can change a person's life. Being 100% permanent total will change your life. Going from 0% to 50% will change your life. And also going from like 80% to 30% will change your life. It works both ways. It'll change your life in a good way because you get more compensation and you get more benefits if it goes up. But then it also retracts and it goes backwards. And if you're getting a reduction, that also influences and takes a big chunk of your life too. That shit works. It works both ways with that change. And like I said, it was halted in enforcement. But it is still the regulation, and the regulation does not have a suspension date on it. So the regulation is still in place. What I just showed is still what the regulation reads. until the regulation is not rescinded and retracted and backed up to what it was prior to that change, that is what is in effect. Until Doug Collins says, yeah, we're not going to enforce it going forward indefinitely, and it's in writing, you can't go off of what he's saying, because at the end of the day, the Code of Federal Regulation is what every fucking raider is going to go off of. So that update stays that update. Imagine you got to regulate exactly, Zaki. You got to regulate the regulations, because the regulations right now basically are that. So basically, you making statements of stuff that is not factual is the thing that causes problems, because now who knows how many veterans saw that video? Who knows how many veterans saw that video, and they're gonna be like, well, even though I'm on this medication, I'm gonna file for an increase, I'm gonna do that. You should still do it. You should still push forward. But now the thing is thinking that you were going into the situation to get an increase and ended up with a decrease. That's vital information. That's information you just can't look over or skip. If you went into this saying, hey, I am going to get an increase because I'm going to file for an increase, I got my documentation, I got all this stuff and all that, and next thing you know, you go file for it, and next thing you know, they actually lower your shit, because then all the proof you have shows, damn, well, you on medication, they gave you all this stuff, you got physical therapy, you're actually doing better. Oh yeah, I seen that, Sagi. I seen that. That stuff. I haven't spoken about any of that other today. I've just been on the veteran stuff today, Soggy, because it's a big thing and all the changes and all the stuff. And it's just like this is important information. It's just like you can't be telling veterans that this is not happening. You can't you cannot be telling veterans that this is not something that is going to affect them. You just can't. You just can't. So for you to be under the assumption that that person just said that nothing is going to change, I really hope that those veterans make sure to take the time to look into the situation. I hope they do their research, and I hope they find the correct information that finds them and lets them know, like, hey, this will affect people going forward. If you already have a file to intent date before this, it won't affect it and it won't take that into consideration. But anything you try to do after the fact will be taken into consideration. Any increase, any new claim will be taken into consideration. They did. They going to, Sagi. But that's the thing. That is a crazy. Ah man, that's crazy. And the thing is that I always find it interesting that it's always, that's the thing with YouTube. With YouTube, it's like you'll have these channels that are like old as shit come in and say these things. And it's just like, it's like on TikTok when you have these bot accounts that just randomly show up and always got something interesting to say with nothing to back it. It's always on YouTube is different, because on YouTube you can't really tell. It'll tell you how old an account is, but then they don't have no subscribers and stuff like that. Because some people don't subscribe, some people don't do that. They just watch their videos. But it's just like you don't subscribe to anything and stuff like that, and now you're just asking for information. I was just like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that person's account was a secondary of the person I was talking about. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all. Because that's the thing, is it's like, in order to be successful on some of these platforms, you have to have that instigating factor. You have to have that thing so that people are just like, oh shit, like damn. It's like, oh damn, I gotta watch this video, because you gotta gaslight people. You gotta hook people into them. I'm not gonna hook people into them by lying to them or by making a statement that's gonna bring that in. Because the thing is, this is something that's gonna affect people. And like I said, until it isn't removed from the Code of Federal Regulations, this is going to affect people. Whether they want to admit to it or not, this is going to affect people going forward. There's no way that people will not be affected by this. Because the thing is if they're willing to do that, there's no what like I said, this is the biggest thing I gotta say with this. You are dealing with an administration that has been trying to do fucking shortcuts to every single institutional thing they have tried to perform. And they've been going through Project 2025 and they've been completing a lot of the shit that they've been wanting to. The veteran affairs stuff, cutting stuff, saving money, that was in Project 2025. But a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump and a lot of people that voted for this administration chose not to read Project 2025. Chose to be naive about the instances and the information that was put out that has been being followed. So I don't want to hear the nonsense, because you've been told this administration has been doing this, they've been doing that, they've been following their playbook. And in the playbook, it states that this is what they were trying to do. They were trying to reduce people's ratings. They were trying to make sure less people were being compensated. That's all in Project 2025. I believe page 642 to 657, I think, is the pages. I have that shit in the back of my head basically memorized, because I read the shit. Because that was the only part of Project 2025 that I went in depth and read every single part about. Besides that, I didn't pay too much mind to Project 2025, because I was like, these people, I didn't think they were going to get all this shit done, first off. That's the first. But then the fact that they were going through this, I was just like, how does this affect me as a veteran? How does this affect my friends as veterans? How does this affect the people I know as veterans going through this process and seeing this information? What's up, BK? I was like, that's why I kept reading it. And then it also says in there, they want to get rid of secondary claims. It says it in there. They want to get rid of secondary claims because they believe secondary claims were not caused by the VA or the military, so you should not be compensated for it. That's in there. But in order to do that, you need to start breaking down the CFR and breaking down the regulation to be able to administer this. If you are running stuff through the AI so that it can verify all these documents and look through the documents to see what the DBQ said, to see what the all that stuff is, they're running all these documents in there because they want AI to identify the places where, hey, this don't look right. Let's reevaluate this. Let's see what was missed. Oh, this was missed, so let's reevaluate this person, because then the VA can clearly be like, hey, we ran into your file and we went through your file and we noticed that there was this mistake made on this part where you got this evaluation for this thing. We need to reevaluate you on this specific because we identified it as an error. That's all they need to do. If there is an error, they can justify it as an error, and this is going to cause a reevaluation. They want to save money. They've already cut the staff. They've already restructured it. They've cut supposed all these duplicate programs and all this other stuff. Compensation is still on the list that they haven't conquered. And which way to do it? That's the way to do it. But the thing is hey, like I said, if this wasn't meant to be done to harm veterans, it would have been blasted out as a full notification to everybody, and it wouldn't have just been sneaked into the CFR, and they would have made a major announcement stating that, hey, veterans, medication will now be incorporated into your rating process. They would have made that announcement if they didn't want to hide it, but it was hidden. They didn't say anything about it. People found out via sources, or if they went to the CFR and saw, oh, change. What was the change? And then it's highlighted. And I showed y'all what it said. And I was just like, oh, this is what has changed. Oh, that does affect me. So like I said, that's the major thing, but you'll see what it is. It is what it is. I was just like, I don't have a problem with people, but I have a problem with information getting sent to veterans and stuff like that that is incorrect. And if you have this person coming in stating that the person made a video saying that nobody was going to be affected, that video is going to be seen by a bunch of veterans because he has way bigger following than me. He's one of I think he's like the third biggest VA channel we have on YouTube. So if you're the third biggest, that means you're going to have a lot of people watching that video, and a lot of people are going to have that thought process. And remember, there's 19 million veterans out there. Only 8 million of them actually receive disability compensation. Out of those 8 million, only about close to 2 million actually are 100% permanent in total. So that's about 6 million that ain't even receiving full 100% P&T. It was only about 2 million. Now, somebody told me it was like 1.8. I couldn't find a specific number. 1.8 million veterans are 100% P&T. 8 million receive compensation. 19 million in total. But supposedly too much money is going through there. They got to make the changes. This administration has done what it can, and it shows that they will try to do what they can to continue to do what they plan to do. And that is reduced to stuff. And like I said, if you listen to those committee hearings, that's why it's important as a veteran to pay attention to these committee hearings. When the Senate has one, the Senate has a Veteran Affairs Committee. The House has a Veteran Affairs Committee. They each have different committees and they cover different things. And it is important to watch those things because a lot of information that is put out through those committees is information that leads to the changes that go on in the future. Because it's supposed experts that have been dealing with the stuff speaking on it. They speak on it, and then the senators that don't know a fucking thing, never served a day in their life, are the ones that are basically like, oh yeah, this sounds like a good idea. And it was already said by the Senator Alabama fucking Tuberville, where he stated that they wanted to make it faster to make changes, and make changes faster to the CFR for evaluative purposes, because it seemed that too many veterans were committing fraud. That was all in the hearing. Who paid attention to that? Not many. Who reported on that? Not many. So those are the things that people don't pay attention to, but those are the things that change your effect. The same way all these committee hearings on everything else going on in this country. They talk about what they want to do. They talk about, and they badmouth this, they goodmouth this, they talk about improvements to this, what their plan is for that. You have to pay attention to those things because those are what change the outcome of what you're doing. That's about it, but that's all I got for today, man. I was like, hopefully these vets get taken care of. Hopefully they don't get lied to anymore. Hopefully they get the information they need. And hey, if you're a veteran and you come into my channel and you don't like the way I talk, stop being a bitch. That's all I gotta say. That's it. That's it. You a grown ass person. You've been cursed at before. You got yelled at before. If it's being cursed at for a good reason because somebody's trying to help you, that's one thing. If a person's cursing at you because they want to be derogatory or condescending, that's also a different thing. But I don't speak to anybody in a condescending manner or a rude manner unless they deserve it. And as always, be good to one another, take care of one another, look out for one another, love one another, stay marvelous while doing it, y'all. I'm just Cruz. This has been our late night instance talking about veteran affairs and just talking. Appreciate y'all as always. Spark, thank you for the $5 super chat. On YouTube, thank you for all the gifts that I received. Linda, thank you for the gifts. Everybody, as always, thank you for tuning in. TikTok, as always, I will catch y'all on the next one. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see if we do something over the weekend. We'll just keep on paying attention to these changes and what's going on, and we'll keep reporting from there. But as always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all evening. I will catch y'all next time. Peace.